Welcome to Convos on the Couch, where we get into the mind of great business leaders. I'm Tom Reardon, and joining me on the couch today is Enari, and from Samoa, a chief, Samoan chief, moved to New Zealand where he studied and was involved with probably the greatest rugby, the New Zealand rugby fraternity, I suppose, over there, and then moved to Australia and worked with one of the well-known rugby schools in Queensland, being Nudgee, and then now Australian rugby and even the NFL, which is unbelievable, and probably more important in my eyes, as a cultural and welfare leader for RWM, our business in that supplies. We brought over 10,000 Pacific Islanders and Timorese into Australia, which is and we've had PAR obviously being the welfare officer for those workers, along with the team that work with him on that front. So welcome to the couch, PAR. Great to have you here, mate.
Oh, thank you for having me, Tom. It's a privilege to be on the couch, seeing your previous guests, people that we identify with on the rugby scene, and also leaders in different fields as well. So, privileged to be here.
Great, mate. You grew up in Samoa as a son of a chief, and what was life like as a young PAR growing up?
Being the youngest of 8 children was exciting, simple, community driven, and full of lessons that had nothing to do with the textbook. And being the son of a paramount chief wasn't a privilege. It was about responsibility from a very young age. You learn leadership through service. We call that tautua. And just seeing my parents and their commitments to the village, to our many families, some of the things that were very important to them was education. And seeing that the village or our families had some sort of development, and they started things in farming. My father was a full qualified accountant, so he had a network as well. And he was a sportsman, so his role was not only to ensure, my mom's role was to ensure all the children go to school and pay for the school fees if people have struggles. My father's role was to ensure that the overall care was in place. I remember as a kid hosting different villages to come and play sports in our village. And I think looking at it from today, that was their role, to ensure that our village was connected in very different spaces. And obviously my playground was my village, the church, the kikiki and the rugby fields. He just allowed me to roam, to see, as a youngest, he enables me to roam and to see our village gatherings, our family gatherings. Being the youngest also, you have very little responsibility. Yes. So very enjoyable time of my life indeed.
I can imagine. And sport, I mean, I think the Samoan team just arrived, the rugby league team just arrived for their game on the weekend at Suncorp Stadium, and you've got Payne Haas, I believe, coming off the back of a Broncos premiership. So there's a lot of hype around and a huge following for the rugby league now, on top of the traditional following for the rugby union as well. So it's a pretty exciting time for Samoa on a sporting front, and then obviously your involvement with sport in general has been sort of shaped your life. And if I look at your role as a cultural welfare officer with RWM, how do you describe the role and the impact that it makes?
Yeah, Tom, I see my role as a father, an uncle, a brother to our men and women, and also the part of the bridge that connects everybody. So I support our men and women not only in life, not only at work, but also in life in general. It's simply assisting navigate them into the new environment, the new culture, and the responsibility that it has. At the same time, I help our own team at site level and also our host employers understand the values of the hearts that our men and women bring to the table as well. And also for our men and women to have that respect without losing who they are at the same time. I believe when people feel belonged, they perform and contribute well as well.
Yeah, they've definitely made a huge contribution to the Australian economy, and obviously, our workers alone have sent sort of $40 to $50 million every year back into the Pacific, which is obviously building homes and educating children and supporting families back there. If I go into, you've chased opportunities across oceans, leaving families, homes, everything familiar behind. What's that look like? Like, what does success look like for a Pacific Islander or Timorese worker, palm worker coming into Australia? What does success look for when, from I suppose, a perspective of back home?
I guess for me personally, Tom, I've been fortunate to be able to enter a few lanes in life, coming from a village life to study abroad, exposed to rugby, a game that's quite passionate to the Kiwis, and also be able to travel abroad to coach and started a career in recruitment way back in my younger days, single days as well. And when I have that, and when you ask the question what success looks like, I guess everybody has a different start point. Yeah. Some leave home with never really been on a plane before. Some arrive with degrees. Some have extensive work experience in different fields. The one thing that they have in common is the fact that they're all here to build something more significant and better for their loved ones at home. So for success, it's sending children to school, building a small house back at home. For some, it's the ability to work in a new environment, learning new culture. What I love most is seeing the quiet pride when I see them say, "Oh, wow, I did this. I made it work." That's success to me, Tom.
Yeah, and I think you've had. I mean, personally, you've had some real success, not only personally, but with those workers, but also in the sporting field. And is there any some key ones there where you've gone, geez, that's a great achievement for someone that someone I was involved with at a young age, and they've worked their way through, and you've gone, right, beauty, I've nailed that. It's really worked out how it should have.
There's a few in sports, Tom. In the old days, we were, I guess, for me at the time in New Zealand, I was the second generation of people that came across, not to work, but I came across to study. And so I was a bridging party to what was originally there, our aunties and our uncles that originally went across, and the new group, and that was me. And so I was relating to their children a lot better in those days. So I met a lot of young men coming out of school, struggling at school, but doing very well on the sports field. I see many of them played international. I see many of them enjoy the success of what sports offers as well. What does that look like? Living abroad, having their children speak a couple of languages, now returning not to Samoa or New Zealand, now returning Australia now.
Yep.
And some of them are now involved in rugby league franchises. I remember one of the young men tell a story in one of the breakfasts I was at 3 years ago in Melbourne. Story goes, I've always been taught to stay focused and take the moment on. And he said, when I went to play against South Africa, I was on a bench, he was a reserve. He said, I stood there, did the haka, and my goal was I always have to psych out my opponent. So I positioned myself to eyeball my opponent. And I did it so well that everybody had left and I was still there. And until the 5/8 says, I think everybody's back at the bench. I didn't realize.
You're so pumped up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I see that success in that, in there. Because those are the little things that we talk about playing under 21s, which was called in those days.
Yep.
Going into playing your first senior match, going into your first rugby union test match, you know.
Tell me about how you got involved with the NFL, because obviously the franchises with the NFL, it's quite impressive. You know, the money that's invested in there. They obviously see opportunities with the Pacific Islands for a great breeding ground for the NFL. How did you get involved there?
It was through rugby union, Tom. The people that I've done rugby with in New Zealand were hosting. They started a new concept called Pacific Rugby Legends. So the Legends started back in the NFL Legends in America, and then the Polynesian Legends. So that's been going for a while, and they've Sir Michael Jones and the other All Blacks went across and just to learn how this legend is put together. So a group of NFL legends came across and did their thing up in New Zealand and did the first rugby union legends ceremony. And then Michael rang and said, hey, these guys want to come to Australia. They want to come to Brisbane. Told our hotel. I said, yeah. What do they want to do? He said, they want to do a camp. I said, oh, you might need to explain to me what a camp looks like. A camp for me where I do rugby union.
Yeah.
We go away.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys are coming into our home. And he said, oh, Pa, if you can coordinate numbers, they'll just come and teach it. I said, oh, we call it clinics. Yeah. He said, yeah, we'll do a clinic. And so we started talking about what's required. Because of they're so advanced with the digital world, they were able to put a link on. And all we did was organize a field and meet up with them.
Yeah.
So interesting enough, Tom, the head or the guy, one of the legends of NFL is my second cousin, Jesse Sapolu, full-time Super Bowl winner.
Yeah.
Never met him before.
Right.
But he grew up with my older brothers. So he came, I did the greetings at the airport to welcome everybody. And then he said, hey, come and have a look at some of the games. Come and have a look at what we do in camps. So I was able to go to America and watch some of the Chargers camps, watch a couple of NFL matches, Tom, in the owner's lounge. You know, it's a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
It really is an experience for me.
And some huge opportunities over there for Pacific Islands that no doubt you'll be assisting them with in the future. But and run me through your involvement with the women's rugby and the on the Australian side of things and you know I suppose the messages you're trying to get across to them when they are travelling into different environments and different cultures and your involvement there.
I was fortunate to give you some contents, Tom. Years ago, I saw a need for New Zealand had strong NPC tournaments, strong club levels, strong development in sevens. In 15s, and there was nothing in sevens or 10s. I saw a need for a competition, not only for the game, but more so for our Pacific Island men and women. I took the vision to Air New Zealand, who sponsored me to go up to Hong Kong and just to learn about sevens, how to do sevens, and the concept around building sevens as well. So I did that for a couple of years. And so we ran the first ever international sevens in New Zealand. So the concept was enable our Pacific Island to mix and mingle with the best of available in New Zealand. And we did that so well. One of the administrators, New Zealand administrators, said, hey, look at, inviting the women's. I said, Mike, I wouldn't know where to start. I just know how to do this concept. At that very time as well, Tom, the New Zealand women that just returned from the World Cup and won the World Cup convincingly as well. So the hype around the country was very high. And so I reached out to their coach, who was Samoan, spoke with him about developing a women's section to the team. And he said, yeah, Pa, well, we'll support it. And the first thing I did was I went home and talked to our rugby union, spoke with the chairman and shared the vision. And I said, we're going to kickstart it. If it's something that you will consider looking at as well. Because rugby, and then it was a no-no in our culture.
Yeah, okay.
It was a no-no. And for me to start that, I literally had to talk to the ladies who were running netball, who had been in the game for a long time. Talk to the people running athlete just to get some knowledge and some background of the females. And when Samoa said, yes, go ahead, we didn't start that. And we had a team from Samoa University. We had 3 teams in New Zealand. One of them was the New Zealand invitation team. And that was our very first game of sevens in women's rugby. Yeah. We did that well enough to say, hey, there's other teams that would like to join. At that time, there were very minimal international sevens around the world. But one thing that we knew before we left New Zealand, we camped in New Zealand. One thing that I knew is that our group was tight, that we'll battle for one another.
Yep.
I can share how comfortable I was at that stage, because our first tournament at our Ulala International Sevens, our team lost to New Zealand 58-5. And in that try, we mauled the ball from a penalty at 22.
Yeah,
there was a penalty, and the girls looked at me and said, because our frame was sufficient for us to maul the ball. And I remember saying, maul the damn thing to the try line.
Oh, how good.
And we mauled it. And just to have the joy of crossing in the international team's try line. And we did that. The second tournament we attended, we played New Zealand again, but the score wasn't as high, but we were able to score 2 tries. The third third tournament, the score continuously the gaps was a lot less. But I remember our last tournament before we went to Hong Kong, we played New Zealand up at Glenfield Sevens. And our goal, always been our goal, was get that part of you to the button.
Yeah.
If you continuously get that shoulder to the button, trust me, you will see results.
Yeah.
And we lost to New Zealand. I think we were, 5 or 3 points difference.
Yeah, right.
When we walked out, I said to the girl, stop, have a look on the field. When we had a look, 3 girls were on the ground. And I said, that's what the results of shoulder to the butt, And I tell you, we can do it to the best of the world.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, what an achievement, though, taking women's rugby to Samoa and then growing it, contributing to that sevens in the global arenas. Great achievement.
We lost to Australia in the Cup semi-final. And then we went across and won the Bulls.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we pride on, Tom, is the fact that the arena was new to us.
Yeah.
But we wanted to leave a mark, always wanted to leave a mark. And there's nothing better than our culture. So we had the youngest member of our team always at any time ready to do our siva, our dance. And so we had this big speaker, Tom. The girls are so used. So everywhere we go, we had this speaker with 2 songs. And at the end of every event, we'll give out the single, and our girls will play the music, and she'll lead the dance, and everybody around will be dancing.
Oh, how great.
So when we left Hong Kong, we were the favorites. Yes.
Rugby is such a big community over in the Pacific, and we've been lucky enough to, with our 10,000 odd palm workers that we brought in, we've been lucky to bolster some of those rural and regional areas that haven't had rugby teams for some of them 10, 15 years, and now have premiership winning teams, which is quite amazing. How do you find the communities though when you've got a lot of internationals coming into the communities? How do you find the communities react to that, I suppose, because there has been a large influx over the last sort of 4 or 5 years into those smaller rural and regional communities, and how do you manage that, I suppose?
I guess the first thing is, Australia is such a big place, and the reaction comes as different dynamics as well. But one thing that's consistent is the fact that locals wake up and they see groups of Pacific Islanders, big frames, and they go, what are they doing here? And through the course of their stay, they learn a little bit of the fact that they're working for meatworks, local meatworks. And in there's that unknown for in the very beginning. So when I came into the program, Tom, I visited quite a few different parts of Australia and found that was consistent as well. And some of the issues that we had happened because we weren't integrating our men and women into these small towns well, and also preparing our men and women for coming in, because our men and women, the Pacific men and women coming to Australia, their vision is about the opera house, the bridge, the twinkle lights of Brisbane City. And so when they arrived and they're in this small pocket, they're also confused as well. And that confusion needed a bit of work in the beginning when I first came in. But right now we've incorporated the assistance of the council, the police, and a lot of the local services. So some of the programs that we've done to help us integrate our men and women is down in Smithton, where in Tasmania, where we've gone in, met with the mayor, and we talk about our men and women. And he says, yes. So quite a few of them, they sing very well. And I says, do you have leadership programs? What are some of the things that we can do together so that you get to hear their story as well? And they said, yeah, we have a leadership program. And I think that was for 18 to 26-year-old men, boys and girls. And in talking with the mayor, we agreed, if I can get our men and women to come into their monthly meetings and share their story of where they came from and the reasons why they're here, and also enable the young local members to also talk about their leadership and what inspires them. I said, we shared and we agreed to the fact that story will be talked at the dining table. Yeah. Where grandma and grandpa will be, and the parents will be. And it's the fastest, is one of the best way to get the story out to community. And so we did that. And our men and women out there do monthly visits to the aged cares or people. So there's that activities. Others, we have sports. Our Melanesians are very good at soccer, so they've done very well in soccer tournaments. The short version of soccer, similar to seven-a-side in rugby union. Our men are playing rugby union at different parts of Australia as well. Their participation and the level of participation as well has enabled us to get fields from council that is being dedicated to our men and women to use. So we have a few of these fields where our men and women are able to play various sports, soccer, volleyball, and touch footy during summer. So the integration in the beginning was new to everybody. I'm sure you heard me share many times in some of these talks that we have with our host and country. This program started, and not everybody had all the correct information as well. But everybody had that eager to learn and to share their learnings as well. And I think we've done that in that space. Yeah. And everybody's becoming good at it. Yeah.
And bridging that two worlds, you've touched on that Pacific culture in Australian workplaces. What do you think is the biggest challenge in helping workers find that balance and, adjust to life? Like you may have a worker that's, is coming to the country that hasn't worked before, and so, you're going into a hardened environment where it's quite physical. And obviously, that soft landings that you touch on about making sure that they, when they land in country, they know, the environment they're going into, and all of that's critical. And, a lot of a lot of the Pacific Islands are very religious, so making sure that they connect with the local churches and the likes of that. But where do you find, I suppose, the biggest gap with the work-life balance from here to the Pacific?
When they arrive here, they're open to a new routine. That's how I see it. Right? So when they come, everybody comes with different routines from the various Pacific countries. So I share with them the fact that you need to control what you can control. And they said, yep. And what does that look like? Said, you need to get up early. Every morning you got to get up. And you got to get to work. And you got to be on time. And you got to create and have a relationship with your supervisor. For you to grow in this program, you got to have those things. And then you got to also maintain a physical routine for after work. Because simple stuff, it's not simple mind, but it's just little things that you do often will give you massive results at the end. And when everything happens, or, when life noises happens, you can go back to that routine and you'll be at peace. Yeah. And a lot of them are into that now. Yeah. So naturally, Tom, when we first came into the program, there was a lot of cover drinking, a lot of, alcohol drinking. But now we're phasing out of that. We're getting into routines. We're getting into churches. We're getting into sports. We're doing culture performances. And we're performing at activities that's been in various councils' calendar as well. So there's a lot of activities integrating and also helping our men and women mentally as well during their stay here.
Yeah, and I think over the past couple of years, which you've been a driving force around, is having those cultural leaders amongst each group, so that they've got someone to go to, no matter which island they're from, that they do have a leader that's responsible to report back into your leadership team as well, to maintain that they don't go off the rails to an extent, and focus on what their goals are. And I know yourself and the team set those goals early on before they leave their country, so they actually can touch on why they're here and the goals that they want to set. And is there any example that you can give me, I suppose, of some a life-changing thing that you've seen that has occurred with? I know it happens with many of the staff, but one sort of life-changing opportunity that's occurred due to the PALM scheme, I suppose.
There are many success stories in that space, Tom, but one that comes to mind is a young man who had a political science degree, studied abroad, went home, couldn't find a job at home. Came on the program, started from the floor in the midworks. Because of his higher learnings, he was able to communicate with the supervisors and also help our men and women on the floor as well. So he grew to become a team leader. And also he grew to become a supervisor, where he was asked to, or taught to how to set up the bowling floor. So he goes in an hour early, sets it all up, the weights, the floor, before everybody comes in. He's now the quality controller.
Yeah, great.
And we are talking about doing a HR degree. Oh, so as a postgraduate to his original bachelor degree. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a brilliant story. Yeah, people talk about networking like it's small talk and the like. You spend a lot of time at events, but you also spend a lot of time with government bodies, as well as industry groups, as well as workers, supervisors alike. It's obviously a large strength of yours, and you clearly do it differently to others that I've seen in that space. So what's your approach to building those connections and creating those long-term connections?
I see networking as a relationship building, sharing knowledge, sharing stories, sharing resources, sharing experience, mainly with the people within the same frame, whether it's sports, whether it's industry. And you naturally connect as humans, through respect and humility and curiosity as well. But one thing that I know is that in the Pacific is that relationship it's very important. It's a way of communicating with one another, whether you're a CEO or whether you're a worker on the floor. It's important, and that's how trust grows. And as trust is what opens up doors.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing for our men and women as well. Mm.
Yeah, great. Now, we're coming to the end of our catch-up, and I'm going to hit you with 5 final questions, right? And you answer them as you see fit, just the first thing that comes to your mind, but it's something we do at Convos on the Couch every broadcast. So I'll hit you with these, mate.
Tom.
You have a crack at it. Yeah. So the worst buzzword in business right now?
Synergy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Everybody says it, but real synergy is really about trust.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people see it's just about meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great one. You go to when you're completely fried at the end of the day?
Oh, good meal, Tom. Good meal. We have a dish called oka, which is raw fish and coconut cream.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've had it in Samoa, actually.
Or sashimi. It's one of those two. Good music, good jazz. And for me, also, just talking to my 4 boys.
Yeah.
It's just, it realigns my compass.
Yeah. The music's such a key part, isn't it? Of the Pacific, I know that whenever there's a function on, there's no lack of people putting their hand up to wanting to sing and dance from our staff, and also from our clients love it also out in the field. Mate, one thing you're terrible at, but your team are very good at, and they save you.
Spreadsheets. I can clearly see the vision, Tom, but I damage the Excels and everything else, so they give me to just keep working with the people. Yes.
It's better people at that than you and I, that's for sure. Your best gold nugget every leader should know?
Leadership is service, and the higher you go, the more people that you look after. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, that's a great response. The best thing you've read or watched on TV lately that's taught you something?
I read a book written by Legacy, written by James Kerr. It was about the All Blacks.
It's a brilliant book.
Oh, it's a great book. It reminds me of the significance of doing a lot of small things. Do it often and do it as part of your routine, part of your act, and it caters for the bigger group, the bigger audience.
Yeah, it's interesting. That book, it's all some of those key learnings around respect, the sweeping the sheds.
Yes.
The All Blacks were at the top of their game, but they left the sheds immaculate every time they left an international game, and the captains grabbed the broom and they swept the shed. Just that respect that's from the leadership from the top the whole way down. It's brilliant. Well, Pa, thanks very much. I know you're a very busy man. Really appreciate you jumping on the couch with me, mate. It's been great.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure, Tom. And if there's one thing that I've learned is that leadership starts from the heart, and it shows in the way that we serve. I've got a couple of questions just to develop an appreciation of your leadership journey as well. You've led this team through growth and changes and challenges. What's been the biggest leadership lesson you learned about people, the business, and I guess about yourself as well along the way?
Yeah, I think part's probably around giving people the opportunity to lead as well. Making sure that you're not restricting people, and it's about developing those people so that they can make their own choices. Otherwise, the business, yourself, and the people around can't grow either. So if you don't give them an opportunity and you're directing them to do everything for you, no one's ever going to grow. So I think that that decentralized decision making, where people can make the mistakes, they can learn from the mistakes, and they can grow and they can share from those learnings and those mistakes is probably one of the biggest things. And critical thing for our business and for the business that you are a leader in now as well.
The last one, Tom, when you look at the future, especially with the Pacific workforce playing such an important role in our business, what kind of leadership do you think, will matter most in the next chapter for RWM?
Oh, I think it's. I mean, government plays a very big part in the PALM scheme. So I think it's critical to we've got a housing shortage there. So geopolitically, the Pacific is critical for Australia. So it's a real balancing act for both business and the government sector to get it right. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge over the next 5 years, is making sure that these rural and regional communities still have the support to be able to keep businesses open. Yes. And I think there's a huge, we've got unemployment sitting at 4% roughly. So there's still a huge shortage of staff in certain sectors, and I think that's not just rural areas. I think it's in the metro areas as well, where traditional locals are not performing the task, or they're not getting skilled up to do the task. I mean, we've been lucky enough that a lot of Pacific Islanders have come over and worked for us, have been able to be put through traineeships and learn the skill quickly because they actually want to learn the skill, and they're very quick at taking on a skill and getting quickly up the skill set to ensure that both one their pay goes up, which is great news, but also they're taking skills back to the Pacific. So I think there's going to be there's government influence, there's restriction on rural and regional housing, and then there's making sure the balance of skills coming in. We've got the Olympics coming up here now. In 7 years' time. There's going to be another strain on skill sets again. There's $100 billion worth of work outside of the games alone. So, that's skills that we can bring in, whether it's hospitality. We know that, Fiji, Samoa, I've been and I've stayed in places in both those areas, or I've stayed in everywhere in the Pacific, but they have such a great staff in that hospitality sector, and they've got such great staff in childcare sectors, but we need to actually maximise that. And so I think, ensuring that the scheme actually grows further and wider and has opportunities into metro areas where we have those shortages already is going to be critical to the growth of the business and the PALM scheme.
Oh, lovely. Once again, Tom, it's been a privilege to be sitting on the couch with you this morning.
No, the privilege is mine, Pa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, mate.